I think so. Am I here?
Yeah, but no, I mean, did you want to stream to your channel or no?
No, I've. It's a different process, and
Oh, okay. No, that's fine.
I'd have to overlay, and I'm not set up. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a maintenance, so sorry.
No, 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 that's fine. That's okay. Uh, and your production is much ahead of mine. Okay, so we're live. I only put this on my YouTube channel, and I haven't even streamed there in a long time. I usually live stream the candidate interviews to No Peasants, so I don't even know who we might have watching. I suppose we could share it on Twitter or something. Um, Maybe I'll do that. But thanks for joining us, Oz. I've
Sure.
had so much like just wanting to get out about everything that's happening right now. And so first, I just want to say it's really good to see you, and it was really good to see you on. Was that last Saturday or the week before?
Week before, yeah,
Week
yeah.
before.
No, thanks. It was good to get back into it. I was very rusty, and as we discussed, it was kind of a huge vacuum there without Shanda, my partner. So I was just going through the motions, seeing if I could still work everything because it's been 26 weeks since we did a show.
Oh
Actually,
my God.
27, 28 now. So yeah, it's a long time, and
Oh, that's right. Because you
yeah.
stopped really by, was it the first of the year?
It was 17th of December, and
Um,
we had planned on coming back in March, and then
I remember.
it took for the worst, and we just never made it back. She.
Yeah,
So yeah, but thank you for having me on. I'm going to try and contribute. So if you have a
sure.
question for me that I may be able to answer in my parochial fashion, I'll do my best.
Of
So,
course. Well, I'm very rusty too, and as I just said, I mean, I'm so used to being behind the scenes now. I'm just gonna uh, share the stream if I can here real quick to Twitter. Shareable link. There we go. Okay, so yeah, anybody watching would only know me, I guess, from all of my thousands of tweets that get ignored constantly by all the algorithms, which is something we were talking about earlier. Uh, yeah, I think it's worse than ever. I don't know, Oz, can you tell a little bit about your experience? I mean, we've been around. I think we met short. I mean, we come from the Bernie days in 2016.
yeah, Assange, Bernie, all the that
Yep.
crew. Yeah, yeah. No, my experience as far as being on Twitter as of late, it's getting inundated with bots. They poisoned it, and I'm like
Yep.
you. I'm absolutely convinced that the bots, the AI, is looking for key phrases and words in Twitter to just tamp down on anybody that's not towing the line for the power structure um, around. So, yeah, that's my experience with Twitter.
Yeah, and I think it is worse than ever.
Yeah, I think it is too.
So I posted
Absolutely.
this. I don't know. Hey, Brian, if you want to post it places, go ahead. I didn't. I suppose I could have streamed to Facebook, but I'm always a little bit hesitant with that because I still have people on Facebook that, family, and it's like, oh God, do you ever talk about anything else? Other
Yeah,
than
no, I
politics?
get it. Yeah, I think you're good. We strained on Rumble, Twitter, and YouTube. We did stream to a few other platforms, but it yielded no fruit. So
Yeah,
I think that gives everybody the opportunity to pick at least one out of three that they're more comfortable with. So
right. Well,
they're
you
all.
and Shanda
Go
did
ahead.
such a great show. And I just want to say before we get going anymore, but that, yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't want to make everybody cry. I don't want to make you cry, but it's just, Brian and I were out somewhere when we heard, and
Yeah.
it's just very heartbreaking. And we can never, like, possibly fill that space,
No.
her just energy, on camera and everything that she. Actually, you know what? Would it be okay or will it make you cry if I play a clip?
No, it's fine. I'm maintaining now. I just everybody's been so gracious and supportive of Shanda, her memory, and everything else, and I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. So I've kind of tempered myself a little bit, but each day I get up, I've got a picture of my dog that I lost shortly after
Oh,
Shanda. So I look up and I say hi to him in the morning, and that does give me a little bit of tear in my eye, but that's how I start my day. So yeah, I've
yeah.
tempered myself. So, but
Well,
play,
we
please. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
well,
love to see it.
we lost McGregor, my Bernese mountain dog, who was 8.5, on March 20th. So it was right
Oh,
around the
that's
same time. And
awful.
it's just, I've never
Yeah.
had a pet that long. So I kind of surprised myself at how it's still rough.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
okay, we're not
It's
going to
awful.
go into,
No,
but
I had Dharma for 13 years, and
oh,
I had her before my wife, and she's the last legacy that I have that connects me with my parents who passed away. My mom shortly after I got Dharma, and my dad, he was quite fond of her, so I always remember their interactions. She used to go in there and bark at him anytime I had to go someplace by myself. And my dad would tell her that, hey, he had to go. He'll be back. It's not my fault. And it was just funny watching him talk to her. So, yeah, just the little things in life, right?
right. I know what you mean, though. You know what? I just added Facebook. What the heck? We'll see if anybody wants to join in.
Yeah, maybe Zuck will join.
Right.
Right.
I know what you mean, though, I totally know what you mean about the whole, like, your dog being this connection to a before time.
Mhm.
Because I got McGregor just shortly after my youngest sister passed away unexpectedly at 35. And so he was
Terrible.
born, my dog was born like a week or so before that happened. So anyway, but we're gonna keep talking about sad stuff for a little bit. But I want to play this clip of Shanda. It was one, I'm sure I have more, but it was one of the ones that I remembered, and I added some graphics to it. They don't look like your graphics, Oz, but
If it's got Shanda in it, your graphics are great.
okay.
So.
And let's see. I think if I play the clip from it, I think this will work. We don't have to mute. Let me see. Here we go.
Okay, so there was one thing that RFK Jr. said that really fucking pissed me off. And I know some of you probably saw me over on X complaining about this. As a person with lung cancer, I can't even believe he said this. Okay, so Bernie says, do you support Medicare for all, universal health care? Yes or no? And this was his response.
Agree with me that the United States should join every other major country on earth and guarantee health care to all people as a human right.
Is it a human right?
No.
Senator, I can't give you a yes or no answer to that question.
Health care a human right. Is health care a human right?
Is it?
In the way that free speech is a human right,
Yeah.
I would say it's different because with free speech doesn't cost anybody anything, but in healthcare, if you smoke cigarettes for 20 years and you get cancer, you are now taking from the pool.
That I paid into.
And so are you guaranteed the same right, or is there also a duty?
I'm sorry. I'd love to talk for an hour with you. We got a few minutes left here. All right.
What a shithead fucking answer. I was so fucking livid when I saw that. He was directly calling me out. How do I not take that personal? That I'm a drain on the fucking pool. The pool that I paid into with my tax dollars for fucking 35 years. How am I a drain on that fucking pool, motherfucker? Not to mention that I was born in an era where every single one of my family members had a fucking cigarette hanging out of their hand because they were told by Big Pharma and by our government that it was safe. It was safe. They encouraged them to fucking smoke in the 50s and 60s. So this one just sent me over the fucking moon. I was so mad. Fuck you. I'm a drain on the pool. Hello. I put that water in that pool. What are you talking about? Yeah, the whole way, all the way around, that hearing fucking pissed me off. Both left and right. It was just so gross. And yeah, I'm a drain on the pool. Fuck you, RFK Jr. I say that about him and his stance on Israel because he's a big Zionist ass licker anyway. So fuck them all. But to say that to me, to say that to anybody who is fighting fucking lung cancer, which a lot of these lung cancers are not being spurred on by smoking. They're being spurred on by the fucking chemicals and the poisons that's in our water and our air and in our fucking food. And he knows that. He knows that. So yeah, that pissed me so off the other day. I sent Oz a message and said, I am fucking done with the internet today. If I stay on and listen to any more of this shit, I'm just going to lose it and be screaming at everybody. So yeah, fuck him. I'm a drain on a system that I already paid into.
God, I miss her.
Yeah.
God, I miss her. And those graphics were perfect. I mean, the one of Dana Reeve there really tugged at
I
my
had
heart.
to add that in
Yeah.
because that was maybe what they think maybe radon. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I guess I will because I didn't really mean to open that topic, but with that
No,
clip, it does.
Shanda would love that you played that particular clip. I know she would, because that's one of her most passionate moments about what was not only happening to her but everybody in the world.
Yeah.
And I know you honored her by playing that, Kelly. Thank you so much.
Well, I guess I have to say though, because I know, I mean, I don't know, I don't think we really have any viewers, but I'm really working hard to build a bridge between Greens and Libertarians and Independents, some Independents. And there are so many issues that they agree on. And I put healthcare at the bottom of the pledge because I knew that was going to be an issue. Because I think, and I'm not in any way like defending RFK Jr. here, but his point, and then what I hear, and I actually brought this up like, gosh, 8 years ago and got a whole panel full of hell back at me. But I think the point that some make, and I would say some libertarians make, is that healthcare as a right is different because you are requiring someone else's labor, a doctor. However, and I think we just need to reframe the question is like, is it a right or is it the right thing to do? Because what I am seeing now is with so many libertarians, they have conceded on this, maybe some of them because they have their own experiences with like being almost bankrupted by medical bills. We had one candidate, I think his son was born really prematurely, and like with insurance, he had $100,000 in debt. So anyway, I think, but anyway, a lot of them now say, well, I would rather see money spent on a single payer, or however you want to call it, system, rather than us continuing to spend on bombs. So there's some bending on that topic, but I think it's, if you get down into the like nitty gritty of the philosophical question, is that it does require someone else to do something, but it's like, we have enough to be able to fund that and take care of that if we stop spending on war, right?
Well, yeah, the irony of RFK Jr.'s statement was, so are you going to take advantage of the pool because of all your previous drug abuse through your life and some of the things that you've done that would possibly cause you some cancer? I mean, he sucks down methylene blue like it's lemonade on a hot Sunday, and all these chemicals he's putting in his body. So you're going to knock people who have smoked, and you're not going to tell me that he's never smoked something in his life. So the hypocrisy is far and above what somebody in his position should be exuding on the public in such a ridiculous way. The number one thing is that your point is that it should be a right, and it is absolutely, being that right, the right thing to do, period. If you're human, if you have an ounce of humanity, you are going to take care of your sisters, brothers across any continent. You're going to do that. And I'll finish by saying, now, isn't this big soccer situation, isn't the United States the only one out of all those teams that don't have a NHS or a national healthcare system? All those countries have national healthcare. Not one of them, except for the United States, does not have national healthcare. Even the UK still has a national health care that they've been trying to break for years. They've been trying to underfund it and make people disgusted. And so far, they're smart enough, at least, not to go for the private insurance. But who knows? The way the idiocracy has gone in the United States, might have that show up over there, and then they'll really be sorry, won't they?
Yeah, well, I should let Brian jump in here, but I have to say, I do just want to point out, though, for any libertarians listening, and this is not to appease them, it's really how I see this, is that I do understand that point, that you need a doctor to provide services, and that doctor, I mean, there's so many layers of this, so that doctor can't just provide you services for free because they have 200 grand in student loan debt.
Oh,
from
absolutely.
medical schools.
Absolutely.
So it's like it starts so far
Yeah.
back that
It's a domino effect, Kelly, because they had the student loans, which was a rigged situation to start with. So they're basically caging them into having to charge, very high fees to match inflation and their costs. I mean, look at the dentistry; they're even in worse shape than the doctors because of the cost of the dental equipment and how they have to go about doing things. And they're trying to find ways to cut their costs, their overheads, so they can, deliver a good product or fix somebody's teeth without, putting them out of business. Because there's a point, as we've noticed lately, that so many people are living in their cars, they can't even afford dental health care. They have no job. It's getting dire here. And I think we're truly at the breaking point. And to libertarians out there, I get it. But my question to them on the matter of healthcare, do you want to keep sending billions and trillions of dollars for these wars, blowing up people?
no, they don't.
I know. I've talked to some libertarians before. As a matter of fact, our friend Pasta, I've kind of gone around with him on that too. He's kind of changed his position, I believe, on that, and he's for a universal, fully funded health care in some way, shape, or form, if I'm not mistaken. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, they're different. Like anything, there's different types of libertarians. I know there's been a big split. Like the New Hampshire wing, I guess, is now kind of broken off, or they were kicked out. I don't know. But
what am I? I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican, and I align with some of the libertarian points of view. I agree with them. This whole division of everybody in our country is the plan to keep us all divided from libertarianism via religion or whatever else, and it's going to stop, and it's going to stop because. And this is really funny, Brian. You're going to appreciate this. I've heard Scott Ritter and some of the other ones start coining the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid," which Shannon and I have been talking about since we started the show. It's the economy, stupid. And once they break the economy the way they're breaking it now, then things may change really quick, because that's just the way it is when you can't afford to eat, house yourself. People are not going to go for that. That's the straw that breaks the camel's back, in my opinion.
Every time. Historically, that's what does it. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The thing with universal health care, it's really quite simple if you just think about it in terms of, I mean, as you put it, Kelly, someone's got to pay for it. It's you're requiring somebody else's labor. The simplest way to solve this is the government pays for your education. You then have a duty to give back that money. If we pay for your education, say the first 5, 6, whatever years of your practice, you're giving to the public.
So you're saying like a teacher's type of thing, like they have some for Pell Grant?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. It can be done that simply.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. 100%, Brian. That's your civil service.
Yeah.
Rather than going to war and get your ass shot off, the government will pay you to get educated, and your commitment to spend X amount of years paying that back through your work.
Exactly.
And I believe that will relieve pressures on the medical people to the point, doctors, nurses, everybody else. Why can't they do the whole tree? Why can't they do the whole system? The doctors, the nurses, the specialists, we can do that because that's what it is to take care of your nation. That, I believe, should be incorporated into the oath of office that these clowns right now are violating with every day that passes. So we need to take the Etch-a-Sketch and start over as far as our Congress goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think.
The other
No, go ahead. I'm going to find a clip, Brian.
We can, if you weren't already clued in terms of how nefarious this capitalist imperialist system is.
Oh boy!
Just look at the way private equity is now going after.
Oh yeah.
Veterinary services. They're buying up veterinary.
Absolutely. Yep. And they're squeezing them to death.
The costs are going through the roof.
Yep.
Okay, but I got to jump in. Brian and I get into this on this topic because I do think we have a real problem with some. I'm not saying everybody, but some people don't understand the terms that they're using, and we'll
Sure.
get into that
No, they
more.
don't. No, that's very true.
With the socialism, communism thing, and
That's very true.
but oh, actually, I've got so many clips. I keep thinking of other things that we've talked about. But there's one where we had a whole libertarian panel on candidates for Assange, and Matt Ho says, can you explain, tell us how we just think libertarians are like they want a free for all, and they're all just shaking their heads no. So that's not. I think we're in such different camps sometimes that we don't understand other sides. But I'll not try to paraphrase that. Continue. I'm looking for a clip. This is sort of on the fly, so yeah.
Well, what you're talking about is that a lot of people think that American capitalism is free market capitalism. It's not. It absolutely is not. However, from what I've studied, my understanding of free market capitalism, if we have it, it doesn't last long. Because capitalism in itself concentrates wealth and power very quickly because of the way it operates. So you have a business that rises to the top and manages to capture a certain segment of its market, and suddenly it starts setting prices. It starts dictating, basically how the market works, and that's just the nature of capitalism. There's really no way around that. And any regulations you set up to stifle it or to try to corral it, it's like electricity. It will find the easiest path through. It just does. The quickest path through is the way it operates. And there's no way to properly corral it for the long term. It doesn't work that way. Eisenhower initiated the Eisenhower tax rates, and those lasted for less than a generation.
Well,
so
those were the 90, 80, 90% right. Tax rates, right?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Those didn't even last for an entire generation.
Well, this was not where I was intending this to go, but that's okay. And this is something that Brian and I argue about. Or not argue, but debate. Because, look, I'm not an economist. And I think it would be great to have... I watched this discussion between Richard Wolff and Gene Epstein. I don't know how old it is. It's not 10 years old. But, just this debate about... It was supposed to be a discussion about sort of between socialism and capitalism. I don't think it was very well moderated. I don't know. I would love to see a repeat of that, because I think at the very least we need to have people understand what these terms mean. So I did find this clip. So I'll just play it. They can say it better than I can.
Okay.
We got a libertarian panel tonight. And I think a lot of us who aren't libertarians, I'm on the other side of you all, I'm a green, but like this idea that aren't libertarians, like they're just against government and they think corporations should be allowed to do whatever they want. And the rules don't apply to them, and they can just violate all of our freedoms because it's just one big free-for-all. Isn't that what you libertarians stand for? If you all could kind of educate some of us more on terms of this libertarian thinking, because what we're hearing from you is not what a lot of us outside of the Libertarian Party are led to believe about what you all actually think and how you think about these things.
As far as the corporation question in general, I think that without the government propping up certain corporations, certainly the military corporations, we would see a lot. We wouldn't see such humongous corporations that we have. The free market would allow more competition. A lot of the regulation that exists isn't regulations that hinder corporations, but they're regulations that corporations support because it hinders their competition. If I'm a multi-billion-dollar company, I can afford a team of lawyers to sift through mountains of paperwork. But if I'm a startup company trying to compete against that billion-dollar company, I can't afford that team of lawyers. So what happens is regulatory capture, where insiders in that industry, inside the major corporations in the industry, take over the regulatory agencies of the government and then get in there and protect the established industry at the expense of up and coming industries. So as libertarians, yes, we're for limited government, but that doesn't mean that we're for unlimited power for industries.
So anyway, I wasn't really meaning to go in that direction, but I think if we don't have clear definitions and understandings of these terms, then how can we really even begin to debate it? Because they're like trigger words, and I'm noticing we can maybe segue into the wins by, like, I guess it's mainly New York City DSA and some others. It was good to have some anti-APAC candidates winning. But I noticed that the headlines were all, socialism wins. And it's like, that it's done to just like light the fire under other people that are flipping out over.
Yeah, it's turning socialism into a bad word in the public's eyes. But
Right.
yeah, that's part of the how they rig everything. I think unregulated capitalism is probably the worst thing, and these private equity companies are they're like a cancer on unregulated capitalism. That's where regulations they use the hedge funds, private equity companies. I really have a hard time telling the difference anymore, because the likes of Mitt Romney, they basically destroyed Toys R Us. They destroyed them, and they were actually a profitable company, but they got a hold of them, and then they squeezed them dry.
Was it KB Toys too? I don't remember.
Possibly. I mean,
KB Toys as well.
Yeah, they're wrecking everything. And guess what? Capitalism has, in my opinion, the seeds of destroying itself weaved right into it. And one of those seeds is not being regulated. And they can make the arguments, well, who's going to regulate it? Well, the people that are looking out for the best interests of the whole. And, there's so much division in this country, red team, blue team, independent, everything else, until we figure it out that it's just rich against the poor. That divide is going to keep growing wider and wider and wider. The poor have the numbers, and when those numbers snap, and this is another reason why they've been militarizing the police and hiring ICE and buying all these warehouses. That's what it is. They're still going to lose ultimately, because people are going to lose weight and get in shape real quick when they can't eat and they have nothing to do but exercise in the public prison yard under flock cameras. So that's Kelly. Yeah, sorry, I had to say it. But it's true. It is. Yeah. We are in a prison. Just, and my opinion is, when you're working for a capitalist that makes billions off of labor, we are his prisoners making license plates for him.
I mean, I hear you. I just think I do understand the other side of
I do too.
Take it because look at what the government's doing now.
Absolutely. I mean, and how many criminals are in our government right now? I mean, look at it. They're bought off by a foreign state, excuse me. And that's not the only state that's bought off our officials. They're like, one time somebody tried to explain to me, and I was perfectly know what they were saying, because I've been involved in this a little bit. I wasn't born yesterday, boomer phrase there. But they tried to say, yeah, these congressmen, they bring home the bacon. That's why we support them. And that always left me feeling kind of crappy inside, because what did we, by electing this representative, give up by him being at the butcher shop, the government, getting our piece of bacon for our state or our local, our state mainly. It's our state, a bridge, a highway improvement plan, something that's going to create a bunch of jobs. But what did you give up for that? You let them turn into this big, massive throwing out bacon, keeping everybody appeased while they're overloading the military industrial complex, militarizing the police force in this country, and God knows what else they're doing to the environment. I won't even get into chemtrailing and poisoning the environment, but you see where I'm coming from? We are our own worst enemies by being divided, because my neighbors in this certain area, they're really kind of conservative, and some would consider them MAGA or right wing or whatever. But I don't talk to them from a position of being against them. I listen to what they say, and I find out, well, hey, because I belong to the Democrats for 40 years. They are saying a lot of the things the Democrats were telling us for 40 years, but never backed it up. So we can come together on some of the most important issues in our country today if we knock off this team crap and, listen to the libertarians, listen to the point of view on capitalism versus socialism, listen to each other and not these people who are, Go ahead.
Specifically, crony, as they always say, and I've heard both sides. Crony capitalism.
Sure.
And it's like this title of this Christopher Hitchens thing in Vanity Fair that I read, I don't know, 15 years or more ago.
I kind of miss Chris too, actually.
It was like
America.
It sucked.
Oh, right. America, the Banana Republic was the title of it, and it was. I know he didn't come up with the term, saying, but the about socialism for the rich and free enterprise for the rest. But that was where I first read it, because I don't know, I'm a clueless American that got a crappy education with a 4-year college degree. So anyway, but I mean that's what we have, and that's what most libertarians that I talk to would tell you, that they're not for the way things are now. But
was it privatize the profits and socialize the losses? Okay. Okay.
That might have been. It was maybe some combination of that, but anyway.
That's what the AI companies are trying to do right now.
Oh yeah.
That they're all trying to do right now.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Let's get real about. I don't know how much. Well, now we're on this socialism, capitalism topic. But I mean, let's get real about these. Okay, the first thing I noticed when I heard that Mom Donnie was getting coached by Obama, or got a phone call from Obama, the correct answer to that phone call would be "Goodbye, war criminal. Hang up."
Yes.
So the fact that didn't happen, and then you see all of these. They may be good, honest, legitimate candidates. I don't know. I've never spoken to any of them, but these New York City DSA people. But all I know is that I saw Bernie Sanders out there, pulling them under his wing. And it's like, then you're not enough of a threat to that system if that's what's happening.
Yep.
And so, right? I mean, and so it's funny to me. I know you've probably heard it, but when you hear people on the right say that Bernie's a communist, or that I know it's I know, thank you. It's the same reaction I have. And but I played this clip of Bernie on a panel that had 2 libertarians, and I think one of them understood what I was saying, the other one just didn't at all. But that's okay. I mean, we're in different, camps. It's not that he didn't, wasn't capable of understanding it. He just, that's what he saw Bernie like, was that, because if you pay attention to what Bernie says, if you just pay attention to what any of them say, then you're going to believe that crap. But we know that that's not the truth. They say this stuff, but that is not at all. He's as much as a capitalist warmonger as Hillary Clinton. He told everyone to vote for Hillary Clinton. That's why I know that's why I'm here. Because when Bernie did that in 2016, I still don't understand the people that were involved in that supported him again in 2020, because I was done. I was absolutely done. But my first vote was for Ralph Nader, so I think I was just coming back around to my But do you agree with that? Like the social, even them saying that is not genuine. they're
No,
saying
it's
it to-
it's rhetoric, and a lot of it's repetition rhetoric. I mean, our there's a new site out there that Wally Rashid put out. It's called Vote Log. I highly recommend that you look it up because it'll show the voting records of all your congressional people, all of them. And it shows the pro-Israel voting records of them, which is exceptionally nice. Wally, if you happen to ever see this, I'm going to call you a kid because you're a young guy, but you've got some stuff going on, and I wanted to thank you for that. But you can track all these votes easily. It's kind of like APAC, and a lot of people are, they're frustrated with some of APAC. As a matter of fact, APAC bounced me on Twitter because I was criticizing them politely about some of their endorsements in the last cycle, and they didn't like it. And as soon as
you're talking about APAC Tracker, not APAC.
Yeah, APAC Tracker. APAC
Oh,
Tracker. Sorry. I mean, that's the couple that do it. But again, I mean, they're relatively accurate because if you go through and check all this stuff. My point is, in response to your Bernie thing, Bernie is a tool, and he is no better, and it makes me kind of ill that a lot of our sisters and brothers that we were shoulder to shoulder with Assange and some other issues still buy his bullshit. And I know that I get a little passionate. I got on our show, Shanda and I, about Bernie, but we didn't cut any slack to that guy because he was part of the problem. When he did not say anything about election rigging, primary election rigging, that finished me right there. And why I even voted for him in 20 is beyond me. But I just thought, well, I don't have anybody up there. So again, I shouldn't have. It's like rewarding somebody that just stabbed you in the back, and people just don't get that. And you gave Brian, you threw some shade at President Obama. 100%. You are absolutely 100% right on Obama. He is a war criminal, and I've said on our show before that I believe Obama and Clinton are two of the worst war criminals and national enemies of this country that we've ever had. He was a tool. Cheney was running him. Biden, another tool. Blinken was running him. And now we have Trump, and we have a psychopathic administration at all levels that is just, they're breaking it. Somebody used to, I think that asshole Al Franken used to talk about Pottery Barn when he was screaming about Bill O'Reilly this, Bill O'Reilly that. Well, the Trump administration is trying to break the pots, and we are actually seeing in real time, we're owning those pots from military bases to aviation equipment to blood of the American soldiers in that area, and not to mention the contractors who are in it for the cash. We're all bleeding that out, and it's going to cost trillions to fix it, even if they do decide. I don't think they'll be able to, guys. But I've digressed enough. I apologize, Kelly.
No,
but
you
light a fuse under Oz, and I have to be here for my girl, my Shanda. Like I say, anywhere I go, she's right here in my heart, and she knows she'd be saying, she'd be chiming in. So
right. No, that's why I wanted to do this, because I love your perspective, and I knew it's like anytime if I post something that's just really cutting through. I know there are a few people on Twitter. I don't know why they haven't hidden me from you and you from, and vice versa. But Sam Husseini and you, and I know I can put something out, and you're right in there in agreement on especially on the scam that is the Democratic Party.
Oh my God. Yes, and, it's embarrassing.
And we criticize it because that's where I didn't come from it, but I did vote for Obama twice. I even voted for John.
So did I. I have no shame. I did it, and I regret it. Because again, the joke with us was I'd rather be stabbed in the chest than in the back. Right. And the Democrats have done a wonderful job of stabbing me in the back. So that was it.
I will say this: voting for Obama for his first term makes total sense because he came off sounding like he was actually going to get shit done. He came off sounding like he was going to come into office and own it and really make a difference. I
Hope and
voted for him
change.
for the first time because I really believed in the message, and I believed he was going to come in and actually do shit. When he came in with a supermajority and sat on it, I'm like, right then I was like, I'm done.
When I found out is
You fucking lost me.
when Citigroup picked his cabinet,
Yeah.
I went in.
Yeah.
My dad was alive, and
Yeah.
I said, "You see what this guy just did? He
Yeah.
Citigroup picked his cabinet. My dad was just blown away, blown away." So, we endured that going into 2016. My dad was on the phone. Seriously, I had a landline put in for my dad. He was 90. And he was calling everybody and their brother, all the unions, all the Democrat outfits that he could call. He said, Hillary Clinton cannot beat Donald Trump. For the very reason you just said, Brian, the grift was on with Obama, and he's a master of that grift, and people still buy it to this day. And he is one of the worst war criminals and biggest traitors in the sense of not doing what he said he would do out of the gate. And the big flag for a lot of people should have woke them up is when he didn't codify Roe versus Wade. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
He ran on that.
Oh boy, you know what? We
Yeah.
can take every issue and we can show what a farce the Democrats are.
Exactly.
This is a huge one. I don't know if you have heard this. You probably have because you're up on everything. But so there was an independent female candidate out in Colorado that asked me at one point, would you like to run a live stream? Or I think it was 2 or 3 I did, but and it was like, it was women's rights. And I'm like, okay. That sounds terrible, but I'm just like, it's not my thing.
It's fine. That's where I live is women. I support women before I
know,
support
but
men.
for me, it wasn't my thing. And I thought, oh boy, this sounds like pussy hats, whatever. I was just like,
you gotta be aware of that.
My thing.
Yeah, I know.
I kind of figured it might be that kind of flavor of, whatever Democrat thing. But I'm so glad that I did it because I learned a lot. And I learned, number one thing that I learned is about how the Biden-Harris administration fought against publishing the Equal Rights Amendment in the Constitution, fought it in court. And I met the attorney. She was on 2 of these live streams, just like Trump did.
Yep.
So what they do is they, like every other issue, they talk and talk and talk, and they drive around a big reproductive rights bus while they, behind the scenes, fight against it in court so that they can campaign on it, so they can fear-monger, and all of these women.
And fundraise, absolutely.
I'm still seeing it now, and I wish it was just young people. I think they are probably just not aware. I mean, I didn't know about this till 2 years ago. But I mean, there are other candidates, some center-right Democrats, of course, that are doing it, and I'm sure they know. They must know. But anyway, this attorney, her name's Wendy Murphy, and she's absolutely a badass. I love her, and so you might see me posting things about that because I just post her clip a lot from that live stream where she explains what happened, and she's like, everybody was for, women got behind Harris, and there was another group that joined too. I think it's called Shattering Glass, and they said, yeah, we're waiting for Kamala Harris to do the right thing on this issue. Nope, because they don't want to fix it. Because how can they perpetuate the wars and everything else? How can they stay in power if they don't keep a certain number of people on the hook believing all of their bullshit?
No, that's the grift. It's the constant grift from.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start with, because that was my first experience, John F. Kennedy. After him, that's when the grift started turning on, and I'm sure that Zionism will play into that as well. Mm-hmm. But it was corporate grift, it was Zionist grift, it was all of it, and Carter, even he fell into a lot of that stuff, no matter how many people think, he built houses for poor people. And I'll give him all the credit for that stuff, but he was not a great president either.
No.
Because he didn't have what you were trying to say, Kelly, with Obama. He came out and you thought things were really going to hope and change. I mean, I worked for that guy for, actually both cycles, which I also regret. But yeah, he just did it. Just like the same feeling I got with Obama, which was like a kick in the face, was when Bill Clinton pushed NAFTA through.
Yeah.
And I was, what was it, 1992, and I was at lunch and I read it in the paper because we didn't have social media. And they said, yeah, it's great. Bill Clinton pushed NAFTA through, prosperity. And I took the newspaper, and there were two people in the room, and I was just starting to get my passion on about things because I campaigned for Bill Clinton. And I tore that damn paper up and I stuffed it in the garbage can so hard I just lost it. And I said, another one. And then, years later, Obama pulls the same shit in 2008.
So after you burn this many times,
the
burn. After you feel the burn.
Yeah.
This many times.
We felt the burn. He was serious about that. You feel the burn. Guess what? We were feeling it. Thanks. Appreciate it.
We felt
Not
it,
so
right?
much.
Wait, you mentioned Al Franken. I'm so embarrassed to say this, but I even had a Franken bumper sticker on my minivan. Oh my God, what was wrong?
I know. Honestly, I say this because I am not even close to being a rocket scientist. My IQ is probably average, but I'd take on Al Franken any day of the week.
What happened to him anyway?
He went off into obscurity. He's still around, but he's not a young chicken anymore either. So
right,
probably manager or something.
Well,
probably.
I would like to see his bank account because I know that him and Molly are probably just enjoying their retirement and being out of the scene because this is going to be a train wreck. This year, I keep kidding people, not kidding, but really, there will be no Christmas like you've had Christmas in the past. Personally, I can't even celebrate a holiday anymore with what's going on in Gaza and Lebanon and Ukraine and everywhere else. I can't do it. I don't have the heart to it. But it's pulling teeth just to even do this show concept because I'm going to come in with the same format, which my new partner has agreed to uplift a little bit, to bring a little bit of that little top that goes on a pressure cooker, to take off on Saturday night for 2 damn hours with some music and some fun stuff while still informing about what happened during the week.
You guys did a great job with that, you and Shanda.
Yeah.
Making
we hope we weren't presumptuous, but we just came in to do that. And our, Shanda and I, we kidded each other and everything about sharing a brain, but no, we did. We worked together for so long, we knew what each other was thinking. And I'm hope to having that kind of a good, thoughtful relationship with my new partner. And she's going to watch this at some point, I'm sure. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But again, everybody's out there. You got people doing great interviews. Don't want to do that because it's already out there. I mean, Max and, even those that don't like Jimmy, he does some really good interviews, or Judge Knapp, or, what's this new kid's name? Newfall, Mario Newfall.
Yeah.
He does good interviews. That guy's crazy because he'll do 10 interviews in a day. I mean, I thought Judge Knapp did a lot, but this guy does twice as many.
Yeah.
So, you're getting all the information and the perspective from people who actually, are, movers and shakers still in that area. But we're not that. But again, I digress. I got verbal diarrhea tonight.
No, you don't. I love it, Oz. It's great.
So,
I just wanted to say, I think the frustrating thing is, yes, there are a lot of people suffering now. However, I do think even if you're comfortable, like you just mentioned, Gaza, it's just very disconcerting to look around and see that life you kind of can just tune it out, what's happened. And it's gone on so long, I think there's some desensitization. But even if you have yours and you're fine and you're okay, I don't understand how, as an American, you have access to this information, it's happening. And I understand it's not for everyone to become an activist and live and breathe this stuff all the time. I mean, I feel like I never stop, and sometimes I just have to check out, for a bit. But I don't know how you check out permanently and not.
I have an answer to that.
If you're comfortable. I guess if you're comfortable, that's what you do. But I don't know how you live with yourself, if that's the case.
My response to that is that I think people are terrified. I think they're terrified of understanding the reality of the thing, and their mind and their heart can't get around it because it hurts so goddamn bad. I mean, they don't want to
Yeah,
believe
there's
how
definitely some of that. Yeah.
how evil, how greedy,
Yeah.
how filthy their government, who they have been socially conditioned since birth, that we're the fucking good guys. We are not the good guys. We are evil, our government. But, you know, to be a human being, the natural thing from everything that I've read and watched, everything else, it's kind of natural for people. They're either very human, they don't want to be murderous monster savages, you know, just be at the core of being human. But with this social conditioning that we've had for decades in our lives, you know, you guys tell me what's on TV to watch. Cop shows, military shows, horror shows. Back in the 70s, it was The Odd Couple, it was Three's a Company, it was half-hour sitcoms that were actually funny. And I didn't find Archie Bunker funny. I thought that was, you know, it may have been funny at the time, but I think I was evolved enough in my head to know that was really mean shit, you know. But these other ones were funny, and they wouldn't be able to do those today. But that's when the 80s, then the 90s, then social conditioning went off on steroids.
Now, you're a boomer, but you're a younger boomer, right?
I'm a Jones boomer. I did that piece on the show you guys saw.
Yeah.
You were in there
Yep.
about a Jones boomer. I'm
Right.
I'm 55 to 64.
Yeah.
We were called latchkey kids because both
Right.
parents had to go to work starting then. You know, before that,
Right.
one parent could afford to, you know, pay for house and car and everything else. But so,
Right.
which gave us the kind of independence that you can only learn, you know. And this is one of my critiques of social media and having your iPhone and scrolling all day long. You don't learn the kind of independence from
Right.
that we did, because we went
Right.
out, we got in front of people, where now you're told, another way of social conditioning, what you should be thinking through social media and videos and popularity and still commercials. It's all like that. And I'm kind of sad because I know this, but some people will never know this, nor will they even have the wherewithal to understand what the hell I'm talking about, because they won't be able to own a home. They won't be able to go on vacations. They won't be able to go to Disneyland or Paris or anything else because of capitalism. And I'm going to say it's vulture capitalism. It's not, you know, like you were referring to earlier. This is predator capitalism.
Yeah, I just like to make that distinction because I think the economic stuff really needs some very deeper analysis.
Oh, absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
On the subject of, I got to play this.
Please do. Yeah. Again, just tell me to hold up.
Oh
Pause.
no, it's just you say things and it makes me think of. So this is from Randy Credico's Assange Countdown to Freedom, and when I did candidates for Assange, it was always constant. Oh God, Kelly's got another Meltzer clip, and Matt would laugh. But Nils Meltzer, who is the former UN rapporteur on torture. He also wrote a book, The Trial of Julian Assange, but just a brilliant guy, and we had so many great sound bites from it. But this, I think, and he actually submitted a paper to the UN on the psychology of denial.
That would be good. I'd like to read that. Yeah.
Yeah. But here it is.
Divert attention away from the monumental revelations made by WikiLeaks that prove, you know, these hundreds of thousands of documents that prove that it's not that, you know, the rule of law and democracy is threatened. What we can see here is that by and large, it has already been kind of neutralized. You know, there is a parallel universe where intelligence services are cooperating behind the backs of their own parliaments and their own people. And the diplomatic cables give ample evidence for this. And in order to divert attention from the war crimes and that corruption and the torture, it's a well-known technique. You just, you know, take the spotlight and put it on the individual and say, here's a traitor, a rapist. He doesn't feed his cat. You make a simplified, juicy story that the average citizen can understand and can handle, because now he has a scapegoat he can blame, and then the rest of the system remains untouched. So the elephant in the room disappears, vanishes somehow in the shadows. And why do people, and I fully am with Angela, and it's very irritating to see that the public allows this to happen. But this is just human nature. I've actually, this case even triggered my interest so strongly that I studied this together with a neuroscientist and a social psychologist and submitted a report to the UN General Assembly on the neurobiology and the social psychology of precisely this pattern of denial. We human beings, Randy, you and I, Daniel, Angela, all of us, we don't like to receive uncomfortable news. So if we hear something that we don't like, we have almost, biologically an instinct to deny it, to push it away if we can. That's our biological functioning operating system. That's just the way we are. And this is being exploited because by the leaders of the countries, because if you accept that the system is corrupt, well, what does that mean? It means you have to change the system. Well, that's complicated. That's difficult. It's a lot of work. That's uncomfortable. You don't know how to do it. So so actually you're relieved when you can just blame Assange. You see? Yeah. It's an easy way out that everybody likes, because now we can blame somebody and we don't have to worry about the system. And unfortunately, that's very much a reality until people suffer so much, like French Revolution or so, that they have to react and rebel against the powerful. When it becomes more painful to remain passive than to actually rebel, then they react. But Daniel.
So sorry, I wasn't prepared to play that, or I would have had the shorter version.
No, that was great. He's talking my language. I agree with everything he came up with, and he's eerily looks like a Hollywood actor that I used to watch. I can't remember.
He's a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he really is. But spot on.
We used to. Randy always puts music, and he does kind of like you do, with putting entertainment with his interviews, and so he would send me Nils Meltzer's like piano music too to add in on there, so it was good. But
that's great.
But yeah, let's see. I did have some other. I had this Bernie clip. Actually, I've got two.
Do I need a barf bag, or is it Bernie Sanders? I need a barf bag, or what? Shanda kept one right there on her desk. She had a barf bag every time I brought something.
And I think the hardest thing is I really don't want to see the next Gen Z falling for what we did with the Democrats. Like they talk a good game, and you think you're on the better side of things or whatever. And I understand a lot of them can't afford life, and so they're falling for everything they're being sold. But this will be great because I've got Bernie 2016, and then we've got Bernie 2026.
Okay, here we go.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Now, actually, I need to set up this one because this was the point where this is July of 2016, and I was done. I had been to I think the DNC convention was the following week after this clip, but Bernie had decided to bow out. He could have gone independent and taken it all, but he didn't. And so anyway, this is in New Hampshire, I believe, and it was right after he had announced that he was dropping and endorsing Hillary.
Ugh.
Pay attention to the women in the audience.
Yeah, look for Shanda. She's in the audience.
In New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure she went there, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
Well, I know she was in Philly.
Yeah,
but
she was in Philly. Maybe she wasn't. Yeah, maybe she wasn't. But yeah, play it. I want to see it.
All right, here we go.
Grow up.
About the past, but to focus on the future. That future will be shaped more by what happens on November 8th in voting booths across our nation than by any other event in the world. I have come here to make it as clear as possible as to why I am endorsing Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, get your hand off my sign, asshole. I remember this clip.
Do you?
Yep.
And why she must become our next president. During the last year, I have had the extraordinary opportunity to speak to more than 1.4 million Americans at rallies in almost every state in our country. I was also able to meet with many thousands of other people at smaller gatherings. And the profound lesson that I have learned is that this campaign is not really about Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders or any other candidate who sought the presidency. This campaign is about the needs of the American people and addressing.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
And addressing the very serious crises that we face. And there is no doubt in my mind that as we head into November, Hillary Clinton is far and away the best candidate to do that.
So, I hope some people that maybe don't know all of this can understand where we're coming from and our anger, because I remember this time period so well. And I was once a clueless voting Democrat, okay? And in this short span of time, I remember I witnessed Philando Castile. Within like a minute or two, I just happened to catch it, where he was shot in his car and died on camera. I was shaking. It just really, really bothered me. Like I didn't know. And then this happened. And then I go to Philly DNC week, and I'm seeing outside, they had the democracy coffin, and you've got all these people like those women in the audience that are furious with standing there defiantly with their ripped Bernie signs behind a cage, right? Like, and they were using the white noise machines inside the convention center, because they didn't want the optics on TV that people were not supporting Hillary, that they were furious, right? And then I remember going back to my Airbnb, in the air conditioning, it was like 100 degrees outside, and there's all this chaos and just anger in the streets. And I go back to the Airbnb and turn on the TV, and it's like balloons and, we're all for Hillary. And I realized that clip where they show this, I have the clip titled "Dem Goon Grabs Bernie Signs." They didn't want the optics on TV if the cameras spanned around to see these pissed off women saying, "Hell no, never Hillary." So they were, I'm sure that guy was sent out there to control the audience. But it's just, that's where we're coming from. And so when I see Bernie still out there now, 10 years later, like sheep herding these candidates, it's just, I'm just furious, because
you should be. Everybody should be.
They're the reason we had Trump. And I think though that, and I think you probably, and you understand, you said you have neighbors, MAGA neighbors, that they're feeling a lot of that now too. A lot of the people thought that Trump was this anti-establishment, he was talking anti-war, and now look what they're getting. So they're feeling that as well now.
Oh yeah.
Yep, they sure are. Absolutely. I mean, but I find the ones that are, and I've got a very small pool to pull from. Mm-hmm. The Christian Zionists are still behind Trump.
Yeah.
Yes. And they're dwindling now.
Yeah, they are dwindling.
Well,
and
there's an age split on that too, though.
there is. There
Yeah,
is
there's that too.
absolutely.
Yep.
There absolutely is.
Like in the Massey race, what we saw.
Mhm.
Yep.
But
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so the second clip, and I guess I'll get into that a little bit after, specifically about Massey, because this is actually, you know what? I'm not going to talk. I'm going to play it, and I want to hear and what you think of what Bernie says after.
Okay.
Bernie 2016 and Bernie 2026. Here we go. Are you all right?
Yeah. No, I'm just waiting to watch The Hypocrite. So
Yeah.
fire it up. Yep.
Okay.
These are the names of children published in the Washington Post.
Oh, crap. I pulled up the wrong clip.
It's all right. I do it all the
Sorry.
time.
I didn't have all these set up beforehand. Oh, boy. Okay, hold on. Okay, you guys
No
talk
worries.
about Bernie
You're
or
good.
something, and I'll find it. Give me a second.
So here's my problem. My real issue with capitalism is that when you have
Oh,
a
boy.
for-profit system, everything's for sale, and that includes up to our representation. Everything's for sale. If you're allowing a profit-driven economy, you can't help but have the eventuality where everything is for sale.
Well, yeah, they've gone too far. Their water, air now
Right.
is capitalized.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me, man?
Everything. Yeah, they want everything for sale. If they can put a price tag on it, they will find a way to sell it.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Brian's just trying to tick off my libertarians now here.
I'm just trying to explain that's what happens. There's no way to curtail it. It's the eventual outcome of capitalism when it's taken to its logical conclusion.
Okay,
I agree.
That I don't know. That may be. I'm going to say I'm not an economist, and I would love to see a really good construction.
It's human nature. It's not really about
but
economics.
I don't think many people, even all those libertarians I just showed you the panel of, they don't want unfettered, where it's just going to happen.
No,
again.
absolutely they don't. But how do you prevent it?
No, Kelly, I think you're right. I think the discussion needs to take place so people will understand because they don't know.
I don't
like
want the government controlling everything either. I mean,
they've done such a bang up job these days.
I don't either.
Yeah, no, I think
and that's where I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my background. My family is very mixed in politics too. My grandfather was a very staunch Republican. I have Canadians that like their socialized medicine on the other side. My grandmother was pretty progressive, if you will. But I don't really land in any one spot. I just know that I'm not an economist, and it bothers me when I hear young people, particularly, that don't know, and it's not really their fault. They're misled. They know it's not working for them. But I don't know what the real answer is. Even with healthcare, I don't know exactly what will fix it. And I think we should have more serious conversations. But anyway, I'm almost sure this is the right one. Hold on. Here we go.
Okay, here
we go. The political reality of today, a reality that we just saw yesterday in the election in Kentucky, when Congressman Thomas Massey, somebody who I have very little in common with politically, was defeated by $9 million in contributions from AIPAC and $7 million from Trump mega donors. And what was the great crime that Massey committed that gendered so much super PAC money in opposition to him? Well, he opposed the war in Iran. And so do the vast majority of the American people. He demanded that the Epstein files be opened, which is what the American people have wanted, and he refused, what a crime, what an outrage, to be a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. Let's be honest. The reality is that any candidate today who stands up to the AI industry, to crypto, to AIPAC, and other special interests will be hit with an onslaught of TV ads and social media attacks paid for by the richest people in this country.
Okay, I have to step away. As you know, I have spinal fluid leaks, and if I don't keep my fluids up, I'm going to be in trouble. But I can hear you, so Take it away. I want to know what you think, Oz, about that clip.
Well,
ahead,
Brian, no, you go ahead, Brian. You first, because I'm still collating my response.
I'm just going to say this. This from the same asshole who is on record as saying that he doesn't want to see Israel go away because he's Jewish, and therefore you can't have democracy for the Palestinians. What?
Yeah.
This from that same asshole.
Same asshole. Yeah, I'm when I hear him, it's the same old grift he's had going on. I'll bet you both that speech was written before the election was even over in Kentucky, because they knew what the outcome was going to be. And it's a candy-coated, feel-good, fight the man sort of a deal going on. But he left out key points, and he didn't get too much into it. It was just political populist rhetoric coming out of his pie hole once again. And he comes out. A lot of people keep seeing him as a hero because he's speaking up for what they believe. Well, everybody's got to have their boogeyman, and Bernie Sanders is the boogeyman for the Republicans right now in some people's eyes. But I think more and more people are seeing through this every frickin' day with that guy. And I like social media for that right now, but it's getting censored so bad. But we are waking up, because to what fruit has anything that comes out of Bernie Sanders' pie hole has come to bear in a positive way for the public? You can even look at his voting record. So he'll vote for weapons for Israel, and those will go through. But he'll vote for populist stuff that doesn't have a chance of passing now because of Congress. But it's the grift. It's always the grift. These guys know. They've counted the votes before they've even done something. And it's, I guess, long story short, and answer your question, he's a con man, just like so many other who in Congress that want to keep their job and keep their stature and everything else. I don't believe he's of the ilk that believes he's going to be a multi-millionaire, because he doesn't have much time left on this planet. And I just think he's just doing the grift for, maintaining his public exposure and being part of it. And he gets off on that. Truly, I really do, because his ego must have exploded before, in 2016 when everybody got behind him. I remember that Simon and Garfunkel commercial when that came out.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, oh my God, finally we got somebody. But had I done a little more research, or I didn't do that much because I bought it hook, line, and sinker. If I'd done a little bit more research on this guy, I would have been at least prepared for the possibility of him bending the knee to the establishment Democrats. And looking back on some of his interactions, I saw a couple where he was doing town halls. I don't know if he was a mayor at the time or as a congressman. He was telling his constituencies to shut up when they were trying to ask him legitimate questions. And he'd stick his finger in their face, tell them to shut up. And to me, no, I don't think so. So the guy, if you look at his voting record and who he's endorsed in particularly, because he's told to endorse them, he's a player. He's a player like a lot of them. To me, and people are going to say, "Oh, you're being hyperbolic." To me, he's no worse than John Fetterman. He's just the same ilk. Same ilk. He's just got he has his line polished, candy-coated, populism message all over again. If he was so interested in the populist message of those kinds of values, he would have called out the rigged system, and he would have actually fought. He would have done the revolution. He would have led people to that revolution that he was so proud to stump for when he was running for office. He's so full of shit. His eyes are dark brown. That's my position on Bernie. So I can trash him all day long, but it's kind of a moot issue, and I don't like to be perceived as the trasher guy. But hey, in my show, I do that.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, I don't censor anything. So I was censored recently. It was real fun. Let me tell
Really?
you.
Where?
I'm not going to announce that right now publicly.
What kind of a forum was it?
Kind of like this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you off the air, but I'm not.
That's
gonna
fine. No,
announce it.
I could imagine you were. So yeah.
Well, I'm used to it in certain places, but this was very odd. But there's been a lot of really odd things ever since Trump won re-election. So that's a whole other. I probably need to do another hour on that. But
more every day.
Yeah. So I kind of want to break down what Bernie said specifically a little bit more. And I actually did this, like I said, on our panel, one of our panels, but I don't think I made myself really clear. So hopefully I can get this a little better. So you notice Bernie starts out, and the first thing he says, Thomas Massie, we just had this election, and Thomas Massie is very popular. Why is Thomas Massie very popular? Well, he goes into saying it, Bernie does, but after it's first Thomas Massie, who I have absolutely nothing in common with, because we got to start with that, right? We got to start with the divide. You don't want anybody over here that might consider themselves on the left to dare, listen to what he's saying. And then Bernie goes into specifically why, what are the things that Massie did that were so bad? And what does he say? He lists being against the Iran war. Was Bernie against that? He lists the Epstein files, right? And then he lists AIPAC, buying off his election. I don't remember if it was that in that many words, but whatever he said about that. So he names those things. So he's doing that thing that he does very well, and politicians do really well, is state the obvious, because they know that that's what the people are upset about. They have zero intention of ever doing anything about it. It's just to get you going, yeah.
That's a tactic. Yeah.
Right.
Applause lines. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So it's so weird because people, we really need to study propaganda more closely, I think. The language is structured. Because he does that. It's like, I don't agree with him at all. But then can you believe they went after him for these things that are why?
So he's actually agreeing with them on those things because he highlighted.
Except he isn't.
Yeah, he isn't.
Really isn't.
Right.
He's exposing himself as being a tool right there.
Right. Exactly. He's kind of telling on himself.
Between the lines, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Again.
And then he has to throw in and he's not a rubber stamp for Donald Trump. What does that have to? Okay, so Massie went against his party hard. So, are any of these candidates that just got elected as Democrats that were taken under Bernie's wing, the way Mamdani was taken under Obama's wing, are any of these candidates going to end up being a Massie in Congress, or are they going to end up being AOC and being part of the rotating villain thing, like Glenn Greenwald described, like back in 2010?
I think that's exactly what they're going to. You had Louder just say he was going to happily endorse Hakeem Jeffries for the majority chair in Congress. I mean, really, dude? I sent him a message, or I posted it somewhere. Please don't soil yourself out of the gate after this win. It's such a bad look. It's like,
and I say this a lot too lately. I'm not as nice as I used to be about these things. I still do understand that there are people, maybe some watching. I think I saw my cousin might have been watching, the people that I don't even really know very well, but I know they're pretty in my own family, extended family, but I think they're probably pretty apolitical. And I would just say that I don't understand how anyone, I'm not calling out anyone specifically here, but if you're an American and you're comfortable, you are aware of what's going on in the world. You are aware that maybe your 401k or your stocks or something, even if it's 5 steps removed, is funding the bombs that Nikki Haley wrote her name on to kill people over in Gaza. So it's time to I don't see how you just check out. And so I'm especially after my experience, God, I'd have to do a couple more hours with the Democrat Election Integrity Group. I don't know if any of them might be watching. I doubt it. But the total hypocrites on everything about election integrity. After Trump was reelected, they lost their friggin' minds. And these are all old white boomers. Sorry, but they're
It's okay.
not. It's not nothing against you. But I mean, I've heard some people. A friend of mine who's black and is living in London now was like, very upset, because I understand that Trump does like incite a certain base of people that, I mean, we've seen it with ICE and everything, how awful that is. So I don't want to ever downplay any of that. But I'm just saying a lot of the people that I saw really losing their minds, it really didn't have any reason to. I mean, it's just all a political game. But I'm pretty much like I'm at odds with all I called out what I saw. They tried to push something called drop-offs as election fraud. All drop-offs were split ticket voting by independents, where you had a bunch of people say vote down ballot for Democrats, but refused to vote for Harris. So they were voting maybe for people in their state, for other offices, but they refused to vote for Harris, specifically because of the genocide in Gaza. And I presented this information. I presented the data. I presented, here's the Dem primary, the uncommitted movement, and the abandoned Biden, which became abandoned Harris movement. Here are all these percentages. They line up perfectly with your drop-offs. Ignored. I mean, I got blank stares, okay? And then I showed the polling that was done after the election that showed these same percentages. I mean, I went county by county in North Carolina, and it was almost identical, if not a little bit higher by the time you got from March to November. So those percentages, but they went around not saying, oh, this is a weird anomaly, I can't understand it. They said, this is election fraud. They sounded like My Pillow guy. Sorry, I had to just go off on that for a minute.
No.
But that's what I witnessed, and so I don't work with those people anymore. And we started our own group every Wednesday at 8 p.m. And we have a really great. I tried to see if he was available tonight, but a really great my IT security guru who worked for Oracle for over 20 years. Don't hold that against him. And he has come up with an election methodology, and we invite people to come and pick it apart. And, anyway, and we have data analysts and other people that come. So I was determined to try to do something that was actually nonpartisan, because unfortunately, election integrity is completely, I mean, as you would expect, but it's completely partisan. It's either really far right or just very diehard Democrats. There's no in between. So anybody that happens to see this and you're interested in the topic, especially if you have any like particular skills, tech skills that you want to bring, then do come. Or if you're just interested, you can come too. So what are you typing away, Brian?
Just responding to somebody in the chat.
Oh, okay. Oh, we have people in the chat. So
the Interceptor 12 is in the chat. Hey, what's going on, Interceptor?
Is that YouTube?
Yes, that is YouTube.
Okay. Well, see,
I couldn't find it on Twitter, so I don't know if it's loading or whatever.
No, I stopped. You know what? I'm not surprised we have no viewers. First of all, I haven't done this in forever, but I also stopped paying Elon Musk $8 a month some time ago.
Oh.
So, yeah, I used to use Twitter, but for our panels, especially with the candidates, we get into really dry conversations about ballot
It's
access.
Aeolus.
Huh?
It's Aeolus. The Interceptor 12 is Aeolus.
It's been a long time.
We haven't seen him in quite a while.
So how do you put these on Twitter? Do you just upload them?
Well, I haven't done that with this. With the clips, I just upload them on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So for the candidates, because I always said when we started it that it's kind of a cross between a meeting and a show. I get good clips and I put them, of the candidates speaking on certain issues, and I post them up on social media. But the panels that we do get into some kind of stuff that probably the public, they should care about, but they might not hang in there with. Like,
yeah, some of our friends who are doing shows that aren't focusing on the top red meat on Twitter. They have the same issue, Kelly. I mean, they have very few live viewers and very few interactions, and that's a shame because that's what you're bringing and they're bringing, and there's more than just one. They just get lost, and they're bringing great information. Can I tell a story about elections?
Absolutely.
Well, it's primary elections and the Democratic Party. One of the last meetings I went to, and I won't even get into the Obama's, what was that, the Pacific Trade Deal? What was the acronym about that? Because that's another story, but that was ridiculous. But I got the same response at that I did to this little story. I was a vice chair with the Democrats locally, and I explained to them how superdelegates worked. And I did the math, because I broke down the math on how many votes the superdelegates got versus just a voter in a primary election. And I got that blank stare from them. They didn't believe me that a superdelegate would get 1,000 more votes to their one vote minimum, and the math is based on how many are in your region and things like that. But for Washington State, it was 1,000 plus votes that a superdelegate had in a primary that nullified, just one vote. They would not believe that. They would not accept that. But that's how Democrats rig primary elections. That's exactly how they do it with the damn superdelegates. And some of those superdelegates have even more power than 1,000 vote, margin on the average voter. So how the Democratic Party can even use the moniker of Democratic is beyond comprehension. They are the least Democratic party. Between them and the Republicans are more Democratic than the Democrats are. So
do you remember the percentage of Bernie supporters that went over to Trump in 2016?
No, I don't.
12%.
12%. So they lost 12% to I thought it would be more.
No, it was 12 overall.
And the rest of them just didn't vote for Hillary. They wouldn't vote. They stayed home, right?
I don't remember like specifically the percentages that then went green or didn't vote. I mean,
who was the green candidate? Was it?
I went green.
Jill Stein.
That was Jill Stein. Yeah, I went green.
Yeah.
I was done.
Yeah, we all wasted our vote, And that's ironic. They're telling you you wasted your vote? Are you kidding me, man?
Well, see, but isn't that we're too tribal because look at that, like, okay, 12, and I remember when I was at some conference, I forget which one it was, People's Convergence, I think it was, at American University in September 2017. That's right. And it was when the draft Bernie started, before the movement for a People's Party. But I was in this room, I think Jill Stein was there, a lot of green people, a lot of people from the Pacific Northwest. I remember that. And I made this comment that about this. And I knew that the numbers were real. I don't have the evidence right now that pulled up, but that, 20 or 12% of Bernie supporters voted for Trump. And I got like dirty looks, like they didn't want to hear that because, and I
what
thought,
are you supposed to say? You're supposed to lie?
Oh, but I mean, my point, and I was like, well, but why don't you think about why that is? Because there is that crossover, and some people will call it the horseshoe theory, right? About a kind of a left-right, whatever alliance. But I think you can call it any of these, whatever labels too. But really what it boils down to, and it's why I made this candidate pledge, is it's all the items are on it, all of the issues that people just agree on. Common sense, really. Maybe I should pull that up.
Haven't seen that in a while.
No. But, I mean, have you actually seen the candidate pledge? I don't remember if you had or not.
No, I've got one framed in the back house that I was trying to get candidates to pledge to. They wouldn't sign it. They refused to sign it. You know, when I get voted into Congress, I have to listen to my entire constituency, not just one side or the other. And I thought that was the most bullshit response I ever saw. How come, compared, to what I had for a pledge, it wasn't even about something that, both sides wouldn't possibly agree on. So, but that was years ago. I mean, that was, God, when was that? That was 2004.
I need to make a better version.
Oh, that's pretty. That's very nice.
Well, it's too, I try not to use AI to make my graphics and stuff. So sometimes they're kind of like whatever, wonky from Canva. And I didn't realize the format I had was like super narrow. And so then I tried to chop it up anyway. But I mean, okay, what reasonable person does not agree with these items, right? No more war. Freedom of speech. So we have First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and the surveillance state. You can add in the data centers there, I guess, but in 2 places. Government transparency, demilitarize the police. Just demilitarize them. I'm not saying,
everything on here is both sides, people in both parties, all parties, except for the demilitarize the police. You might get some balk on that.
Well, I had some people. There was an independent candidate in Kentucky. He's a really nice guy. Like him, he's part of the Independent Candidate Network. But he used to be a Republican. And when he first saw it, he was like, and I was like, well, just read closely. And he's like, no, you're right. This is just about we don't need the tanks. We don't need to have another Kent state.
No, you're right.
I'm not saying get rid of all police or all, anything like that. This is just, let's demilitarize it. We don't need, there's some kids out with, signs. We do not need to bring in the whole,
No, that's really a great candidate pledge. I mean, hold on to that.
Well, I did research on what was, polling above 50%. Most of these are even higher than that. The only one, but I need to update this one. So the next one, election security, was really hard to get any data on because it's all skewed depending on who you're asking and when you're asking it. So
are you in favor of vote by mail?
That is a tricky one. I think
I'm not. I used to be.
Overall, I know, because I think there's just too much. Do I want to get open this?
It has to be severely limited. Very, very limited.
Well, Brian worked at the Postal Service for a little while, so I'll let him take this one.
There's absolutely no chain of custody whatsoever.
My point.
Basically, there's this huge bin full of ballots. Anybody can walk in, dump more in, or reach in and take a bunch out, and nobody would know. There's no one standing there watching it. There are no cameras. It's just, and I know for a fact that that's the way it was done then, and nothing has changed to improve it since then. It's exactly the same.
Well, here's food for thought on that topic. Okay. I am listening to candidate after candidate after candidate. I just finished making clips today that were kind of difficult because I was trying to cram in her legal story in 2-3 minute segments. But when you hear what they go through to try to get on the ballot, I'm sure you know this stuff, Oz, all the legal battles, and they have to go out and, get all these signatures. And it was actually a Republican member of the North Carolina Board of Elections that I first heard bring this up. And it was when Matt Howe was running as a Green, and Mark Elias came in and had people calling people to ask if they wanted to get their names off the petitions and harassing them at their house and everything. But anyway, so they challenged all the signatures. It was a big fiasco. But anyway, this guy, he says, you're so concerned about these signatures here, yet you didn't check any of them when it's mail-in ballots. Like, where's the scrutiny on the signatures, on the envelopes, on the mail-in ballots? And so when you have massive mail-ins, I just think that's a really good sort of comparison there. They nitpick the hell out of these signatures. Oh, someone wrote Rick instead of Richard or whatever, and they disqualify all of these, but they don't seem to be doing that with the mail-in ballot. So
Nope.
it's just something to think about, like, why that double standard? So I don't know, though. I mean, I think we definitely need reform. So anyway, that's what I have here. But at the time, it was 49% of younger people were concerned about election security. But it was like, the media goes up to them and says, are you worried about ICE, making it being at the polling stations where you can't vote?
That's the wrong question. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really get, yes, that's probably a concern in some places, but at any rate, you can't. It's very difficult to get clear data on this, and it all depends who you're asking. Because most people on the left, especially younger people, they'll say something, oh, the gerrymandering's bad, but they don't know. They've been told that this topic is off limits. You're a stop the steal person, so you can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a question, Oz. How do you feel about having voter ID? What's your take on that?
I've never not had voter ID. I think it's a good idea, but it's not the SAVE Act. That's for damn sure. I had to take my power bill in at one point in time to show that I was actually living in a certain area. So that was kind of an ID. I mean, and my driver's license, but I had to have two pieces of ID, and this has been years and years ago. I'm not too keen on not having some kind of ID. I guess people can trash me on that, but no, I think that if you're participating in society and you're not in a position like an elderly person who might not be able to get ID or has lost their ID, I mean, which isn't going to be that much, I don't think. Could be a lot, but yeah, I'm kind of like, I want some kind of reference of who you are, who you're voting, and thus the other reason why I don't like mail-in ballots so much. I'm open to the discussion, the debate on that, if you're pro or against it. But I think that, between what you said, Brian, ballot stuffing and chain of custody is huge. I mean, I know Fiorella and Pasta
absolutely
did a bang up reporting on chain of custody and mail-in ballots, especially absentee ballots. Yeah, really important. So tell me, what's your position on ID for voting?
So I think it's a good idea. I don't think we have. Okay, let me just put it this way. We interfere in so many countries that I don't see I don't see a moral reason to prevent somebody from, say, Venezuela or Mexico or Cuba from coming here and wanting to vote in our elections. I don't see a problem with that. Actually, I don't. We interfere.
That's a good point, Brian.
In how their countries are run, to the degree that I think they should have a say in our elections.
You know what? You make a good case, Brian. Honestly, it is a good case. I don't know if that would ever fly.
Right. He likes
until we stop interfering
exactly
in the way other countries.
Yeah. Why did they come here?
We should allow them to come here and vote in our elections.
Yeah, we fucked up their country, so they're here trying to make this country better. And
stop getting fucked with. I don't have a problem with that.
Did you know Cesar Chavez was not for these migrations and that same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not
It is
for
true.
it at all,
No,
and
he
people have twisted his legacy too. So,
Yes.
yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
I
that's
get that a
true.
lot. And to your point, Brian, ideologically or ethically, I agree with you. They should. If we're going to blow their country to bits and leave them
Right.
no
Then
place,
they should be
yeah,
able to come here and vote in
yeah.
our elections.
I mean, that's yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
I
well,
like
I
that.
got to play this now. I have to.
Okay,
Here we go.
play away.
I reported 4
John!
U.S. presidential campaigns. I found them, the first couple, I found fun. It was like reporting some wonderful circus.
Yeah.
I'm now exhausted. It's like a tsunami every 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Those of us
Tsunami.
outside the United States, we don't even have a mail-in vote, so we can't influence
To your
the
point.
thing. But
Yeah.
so my reaction is, I'm just glad it's over, or appears to be over. But there's only one result, and that is we've all got another U.S. president. That's all we need to say. Doesn't matter what the name is. Apparently, his name is Joe.
Oh God, Jesus
Good guy,
Christ.
Joe.
No,
That's a
it's
friendly name.
It's
Good guy,
Anthony.
It was Donald. That was a friendly name.
Anthony,
Yeah.
But,
not Joe.
you know,
Anthony
I mean,
Blinken.
seriously, Biden's record
Oh boy.
is unsurprisingly the record of a man who is the embodiment of the system. That was the difference
What a
between
kind way to say
him
that.
and Trump for me. Trump was a caricature of the system. Biden was the embodiment of the system. But in terms of wars, I mean, Obama is he's the champion.
Champion, yeah.
7
exactly.
wars.
Exactly.
He's a nice guy.
Oh, yeah,
Or
he
is
sure is.
meant to be a nice guy. I don't know. So, but we end up with the U.S. president. That's my reaction, and I'm, you cross your fingers. Then I've got to this stage in life and have not been blown to bits by a U.S. president dropping something from the sky on me. That is almost a miracle.
Almost. Yeah, I honestly, Kelly, I haven't laughed so much in a live stream in a long time.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad.
This is great. John was spot on there. He was so nice,
he was.
so polite, so
Yeah.
professional.
Yeah.
You know, I would have just.
I have to count that. I will tell you, and I really doubt Randy's watching this, but if he is, that was the coolest middle-aged internship in the middle of COVID I ever could have landed, because it was so great to getting to say hi to John Pilger was like, it was just the coolest thing. And he, God, I learned so much. I mean, I learned so much from sitting there recording Randy's show, because I was already kind of moving that way, but then you sit there and listen to hours of John Pilger and Stephen Kinzer and start watching Pilger's Daniel Ellsberg. I got to talk to Daniel Ellsberg and tell him about my grandparents, and that he reminded me of them because he was already in his 90s at that point and was just sharp as a tack. But if Americans had to learn, it had to watch like Pilger's documentaries on what the U.S. empire does around the globe, or read Stephen Kinzer's book, it would be a completely different world. And I think we're just not taught these things, and so you grow up clueless, and you grow up like, just believing all this identity politics crap that's coming at you from either side.
Yeah. Throw in a little Christian Parente in there. So.
Oh yeah, that would be good. I didn't. I never took. His son, I think, was. No, he wasn't on Randy's show. I can't remember. I knew more. I didn't know much about him till later, I guess.
Well, it's I always say Sister Shanda, we always gleaned stuff from multiple sources because
Yeah.
our slide deck was you guys know how long that damn thing was. It was like
Yes.
100 slides.
Yeah.
And we, 2 minutes a slide, 2 minutes a slide, I mean, so we really had to get into it. We didn't dive so deep as to bore everybody, but at the same time, we gave a gist. And I learned a lot just from doing that. I learned a lot from engineering for Fee and Pasta and their guests, I learned a lot from a lot of people. And I got paid a nice compliment. I think Indy over there at INN one time, he was interviewing Shanda, and he said, yeah, Oz has got a very particular way of seeing the chessboard that a lot of people don't see. And I believe that's just how Shanda and I took in information, is that we see this chessboard playing, and a lot of times those pieces, you can see the moves. And that's what helped us, go forward and do things. And
but you guys kept it entertaining too, which is not it's hard to do with these serious topics, but
it's impossible. People eyes glaze over in 5 minutes if you're not doing that. And that's the formula, that's the format. That's why my new partner, I said, hey, you want to do this, we're entertaining, but that's the whole point. But we're going to get some information out there because we want to make people, at the end of our show every night, we always wanted to make people feel a little bit better about things and that they got some value for the time they invested in us. So again, that's why you open it like a variety show with music coming in and music going out. So and one of the weirdest comments, I say weird in a good way, people just liked those outros that I built to see the different tiles because how they flow. And they got information more so than I did, I guess, because I was saturated with them already, just watching those things. So yeah, it was good to get that kind of feedback. I miss it. I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to do it again soon.
Well, hey, you know what? I have got like massive, as you can tell, every 5 seconds. I'm like, wait, I got a clip for that. So I am happy to share with you. I think I've got any clips that I use from Randy's show are labeled, and I can ask him about it more, but I always put who it is and then it was off from a song.
Well, here's what we're talking about since you brought that up. One of our sponsors, our very good sponsors, producers, helpful people, suggested that we do an interview section, a segment where we do an interview. And we like to do live stuff because live shows are going to be the new gold with all the AI slop out there. It's getting so live shows are going to be a premium because they can actually see you. And I don't care what they think of how I utilize some of the AI with the avatars because they know what we look like.
Right.
But it's part of the entertainment.
It is. I like it.
Right.
Yeah. But we are going to do entertainment or interview segments, and my partner, I hope, is going to do most of them. So what we're going to do is pre-record interview segments. Rachel Blevins does this a lot because she can't get in there, and she does a very good job with those interviews. But what you were offering, what you're thinking, if you have something like a clip that you really wouldn't mind seeing featured on that kind of a show, our show going forward, please send it over. And I always say this, if I can utilize it and make it work, and you'll give me a kind of a description of what this is about, and I'll look at it, I'll certainly do that because I'd like to have that beyond a call-in show. To me, that is more like a call-in show. You're giving me something that is important to you, and I get to be able to feature that. As a matter of fact, I'd like to get that from some of our sisters and brothers that are doing all this good work and credit you in the show to send them over to doing some, watching what you've got. Maybe it'd be of interest. It's not to obviously make money, but it's to inform. And if you send me something that's entertaining, that would be great too. So between that and what you're doing, see, we're having to rebuild this whole show because Beauty and the Boomer is legacy now. It's retired. I don't want to touch it because I want to leave it in its pristine condition, But we will be on the same channel, and the name will be different, a little bit different. And, the graphics are going to be new and different. The backgrounds, we just built those for the March show. We didn't even get to use them. because she left us,
Yeah.
So, but we're having to rebuild everything, and no more okie dokie boomer. It's going to be something else, and but the format will be the same. People are going to say, well, that's just Beauty and the Boomer. No, it's going to be a different show. Out of respect and for Shanda, because she told me before she passed away, you keep up the good fight, I'll be there with you, So that's what
Good.
I'm
glad to
honoring.
hear it, Oz. Yeah, that's good. Well, I just want to be clear too. I mean, the clips I have too, though, a lot of these, I mean, okay, a lot of them come from working on Randy's show, which I said would be labeled, and I'll okay that with him before I did any of that. But a lot of them are just clips that I make because I made them to play them on our candidate panels or whatever. They're just,
You've done a lot of work, Kelly.
they're things that I've saved over the years, things that I made or pulled from wherever, like the Bernie clips. And so, yeah, I have. But anyway,
well, I had a blast looking at your graphics and your clips tonight, so that was fun.
Oh, good. Well, before I pull this thing down, I'll just quickly say the last three here. So number, what is this? 7. Okay, so 7 is basically, it says what is legal, but it's basically judicial reform. So Americans' confidence in the judicial system and courts dropped to a record low of 35% in 2024.
I wonder why.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can just look at the clips I was making today of this candidate in New Jersey and the dirty tricks that this judge is. I mean, I see it as they're just nitpicking the law. So how do I put this? It's not boring and quick. There was a Supreme Court ruling or multiple that said that the petition, like the people holding the clipboard, not the signers, but the petition, workers or whatever, don't need to be residents of the state, because she's in New Jersey and she had some petition, whatever, helpers that she paid or something from New York. But there's a state statute in New Jersey that says that you can't do that. But then apparently everybody does anyway, and they just ask for people's license and whatnot and their information. Well, this judge challenged it and said, and the lawyer apparently, who's some New Jersey GOP guy, so they have their Mark Elias on the other side, of course, said that the federal ruling was talking about during primaries, not during the general. Well, what the heck difference does that have to do? How did they split that and make it that whoever's collecting the signatures, the people holding the clipboard, that should be different and isn't violating your constitutional rights for the voters to have people to choose from? So this judge just kicked her off the ballot for that. And then the Secretary of State came in and overrode that, and now they're appealing it. So when you learn, it doesn't matter, I think, whatever case you look at, and you see that it's just power using the law to keep people down, I think, for the most part, a lot of stuff. So
it's always some stupid technicality or some little loophole or something. It's so.
Brian, what were you looking up today about the Alex Preddy case? Do you remember? I'm
trying to remember.
Alex Preddy, who was killed by ICE, also in Minnesota, right? Yeah. Minnesota.
Right. So where that's currently at, hold on a second. I think I've got it here. So Minnesota is attempting to open an actual investigation into it. And right now, the Trump administration is basically fighting them tooth and nail to block them from getting any information whatsoever regarding the agents involved, even though the state already knows who the agents were. They already have that information. Trump's administration is being incredibly,
Yeah, but wasn't there something about ICE agents being immune from? Oh, well, it's okay. I didn't mean to put you on the spot without that right in front of you.
Yeah, I forgot.
It's okay, but
it's something called the Supremacy Clause, where if it's a federal agent, the federal government can step in and block an investigation. Here's the crazy thing, though. The caveat to that is, so long as the agent was acting lawfully and within their purview. So I don't see how that would be relevant here, because obviously murdering somebody wouldn't be legal or in their purview for their job. So it's just,
Well,
it's absolutely ridiculous the way this is being used.
so what I was saying about that earlier is that, okay, so you have this dramatic, awful thing happen, and you have innocent people that, maybe they were protesting or whatever, but are killed. And everybody's very upset, obviously. And then what happens? Well, then it gets in the court system for a couple of years. And what is there ever really any justice? And it just doesn't seem like there is. And we talked to candidate Karen Ortiz. She's really great. She's in New York. She's an independent, recently Dem exited, and she's a former judge. And I asked her, I was like, do you think it would be bad to, I think the judges we need to know their names and their faces. I think they hide behind, it's really hard to find out who they are. And I'm sure they won't like that. And she was just like, no, I'm for that. I mean, you should be proud of how you rule. But the first time I ever got censored on Twitter, I was in DC, and it was before, I don't remember, 2022 maybe, before Assange was released. And I decided to dig up who are all the attorneys that are on the indictment. Because I thought, why does no one talk about that? It's just this, it's the Justice Department. Well, there are people behind that. Who are they? So I looked them up, and I went around to each one.
And there are some creepy looking dudes, I got to tell you. There are a list of some of the just creepy looking dudes. I mean, one guy could pass as a stand-in for Jared Kushner. I mean, they're that creepy looking. There's some creepy looking dudes.
Yeah, Adam Smith of Washington, Tony Fauci. Yeah, that type. I get it.
Yeah, they're creepy looking dudes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, it's midnight. I just realized. Well, let me get through. I'll just list off the top these two, and I'll give you a laugh or on the way out. Okay.
Okay.
So just really quickly, and the clip will come back to the legal thing, the Assange indictment thing. But okay, and then so I have environmental hazards here, and I specifically put here things kind of more local in your backyard, because I think that is something that is easier to go across party lines. If you've got a toxic waste dump, like Dark Waters, the movie, people don't tend to sort of, I don't know, bucket that, versus like a lot of the right would be like, oh, those environmentalists, Anyway, and then healthcare, which we already touched on. So that is on the bottom of the list because of the disagreements that there are there sometimes. But okay, let me find this funny to go out on. And I didn't get into the Israeli election stuff, but you've seen my clip, and I'll do it another time.
Okay.
But I appreciate you sharing that, Oz, because that's been really weird that everyone seems to be ignoring that. It's very strange. Okay, here we go. I think this is it. I hadn't planned on it, so bear with me a minute. I think this will work if I drag it here. Oh, maybe it doesn't work that way. StreamYard. Okay. I think I can search it this way. Okay. So I really went to all the trouble to find out who each of these lawyers were on the Assange indictment. And I went and I stood out in front of their offices in DC and live streamed with my phone on Twitter. And I said, this is where we need to protest. And that was the first time I got my Twitter. I couldn't live stream from my account anymore. I wasn't out there saying, come like attack them or anything. I was just like, this is this guy, this is this guy. And I went, what was it, Brian? Like 3 different offices, I think.
Yeah, I think it was 3 different offices. Yep.
Because they weren't all actually in the Justice Department. They were lawyers in private practice. So
yep, in private practice. Yep.
So anyway, here Here's one of them. I just thought this was just beautiful. I had to make a clip. Here we go.
Ongoing arms race where there's private companies whose sole job is to find vulnerabilities in iPhones, and Apple needs to be 100% up to date. And if they miss one, it can be used to the detriment of someone, an innocent person, very seriously. So it's much easier to be the attacker than the defender.
What is the safest way to communicate then, apart from carrier pigeon?
Yeah, I mean, lower tech is sometimes the way to go. I think that, and encryption tools like Signal and WhatsApp give the illusion of a security.
What's he got in his mouth?
That's the funniest part. He's got strings of spit, like a 7-year-old, like going from his.
Oh my God.
These people are like, I'm sorry. It's just, I just thought it was funny. That's why I did the clip.
I keep the, when I'm running off the mouth during a show, I keep my Blistex so my lips don't dry out and start.
No, that's not. It's literally like strings of spit.
Well, I thought he was some kind of a puppet, and there were strings that pulled his jaw up and down on his mouth. Wow.
I just think, you know what? If you're going to do that for a living, then own it. The people should know who you are. We should know your name. We should know your face. And most of the time we find we don't really want to, because when you look at most of these lawyers, I guess they got bullied in school. I don't know, but
yeah,
they do some horrendous things. So I'm kind of interested in exposing that. Within like reason. Do you remember when like there was a whole group that sat out in front of Blinken's house, like across the street, during the middle of the genocide, and they set up a table out there, and if it's on public property. Oh, and Paula Iacella did that.
Should have brought Molotov cocktails.
No, you can't talk like that.
Why not?
Did you not see the what was it? The ICE protesters getting how many years in prison?
50.
Yeah, don't do that. Brian likes to throw grenades.
Oh, I thought he was just coming up with a script for a nonfiction or something like that.
Right.
So,
yeah, exactly.
No, I think that they do need. There was another clip that went viral not too long ago where this woman ran into Blinken. He was out with his kids.
Yes, I was just going to say that. Yeah.
But you know what? I'm sorry. There, mass murder. It's the polite.
Well, that's what she said. So you care about your kids and not the kids of people in Gaza? What the hell, you hypocrite?
Right.
But he ran the Biden administration. Joe Biden didn't.
Yeah,
run
he
that
sure
thing.
did.
He was president.
He sure did.
President Blinken. I refer to the Biden administration as Blinken administration when I talk about it anymore. So that's what it was. Well, I had fun, guys. It was nice popping in here.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
and I'm looking forward to doing. You're going to do it at same 7 p.m. Pacific.
7 p.m. Pacific. I'm gonna introduce my new partner on the 11th of July, providing I don't have any health issues pop up on me.
Okay.
And our first show, the real show, this is going to be like a pre-show grand opening sort of thing, 22nd of August. And I think the timing's great because it's going into the primaries. So hopefully, I don't know what kind of frequency. I'm getting a lot of grief from some of my closer friends that they don't want me to charge back in and do a show every week. But
why is that?
Well, because it's, they know how much work goes into behind the scenes for Beauty and the Boomer. There was a lot of work.
I can imagine because the
graphics changed every week, music changed every week, the whole thing, and 100 slides. Nobody does 100 slide show. I mean, Jimmy Dore does 10 segments. That's it, and he rants. But 100 slides, that's how we do the math on how long the show needs to be. So if you allocate 2 minutes per slide, that's 60, it's 2 hours. So, that's, that works out pretty good. So,
well, were you often really stressed or just,
but doing the show?
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes it depends on my health, like after, working for Fee and Pasta, because we were doing the shows and I was working for Fee and Pasta. That was murder. And because, but Shanda she was on time. she had her shit done. She was a breeze. I mean, she did the majority of a lot of the shows herself,
Mhm.
and I was just like, well, what do you want me to do? So that's, and I'm sure my new partner is going to contribute in such a way too. She's a really eager person,
Yeah, that's good.
wants to get into it and everything else. So, but yeah, no, it's, I'm looking forward to doing our best and trying to bring a little bit of life back into Saturday nights at 7 p.m.
Good. That's
And
good.
we'll see. It'll give everybody an option. They don't have to listen to all that great information seriously that we're getting all week long. They can take a little bit of a break and
Mhm.
get some treats. I
Yeah.
hope so. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
We're looking
and
forward to it.
talking to
Yeah.
us. And
Appreciate you guys having me for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll be
Absolutely.
there in the chat, and
Yeah.
I'll send you clips of candidates if you want to play anytime. That would
Yeah,
be
if you want, just write. Make sure you email. I don't anything in like back channels. Email, that way I can tag it and bag it and get it ready and see what I can do with it.
Okay.
One of the other things is for these interviews, just out of interest for you guys, I'll use like a Zoom window like you have here in StreamYard or is it Speakeasy. And
Yeah.
what I do is I take it apart in DaVinci and I re-embed it into our show, into our backgrounds and our graphics, which it takes a little time, but it keeps the presentation consistent.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of like it when they see it instead of just being windows.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on too. And I've got improved workflows thanks to different apps that have come out, and so hopefully that'll take a little bit of juice off. But I'm hoping we can do three a month anyway. Just like have a couple of Saturdays a break and then a crescendo to the month. At least that. If not, I don't know how much she's up to doing every Saturday or not. That's a big commitment. And that's why we don't do interviews on Saturday night, because you know how hard it is to get somebody at Saturday night at 7 o'clock in, and especially if you're East Coast, it's almost impossible.
Right.
So, but I'm looking forward to trying those clip interviews. I think they'll be fun.
Cool.
So
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, great to see you, Oz. And
Great seeing you guys.
All right.
You guys take care, everybody.
Okay.
You too.
All right.